Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. This is the second part of the subject. Asking the dead is paganism. Asking the dead is paganism. This is an ancient paganism that caused people to worship idols, as I mentioned before at the beginning. Idols are representatives of the dead righteous people. This is a fact. So let's get into the second part of my lecture. Asking the dead is paganism. Now, there is a long hadith called Hadith al-Ifk. The story of the false accusation of Aisha radiallahu anha. This hadith is very important. Alright, let me brief it to you. Hadith talks about Aisha radiallahu anha. She lost her chain. She was looking for it. Those who lift the box where she stays over the camel, they didn't recognize that Aisha is not in, because she used to be very skinny. So they took the box, they put it over the camel, and they took their way, and the Prophet was with them. That means the Prophet even didn't know that Aisha was left in the desert. Now, those who claim that the Prophet knows the unseen, we don't see that in the Prophet ﷺ. Those who say that you can ask the Prophet in the unseen, we don't see that Aisha had done something like that. She didn't ask. So Aisha was left in the desert. A man who came in the back of the army, observing the army, if there's anyone that spies against the army or etc. So he saw Aisha. He said, Inna lillahi wa inna ilayhi raji'un. To Allah we belong, and to Him is our return. The wife of the Prophet is left. He took her. He escorted her. She was riding the horse. He was walking all the way to Medina. She was accused falsely that something must have happened between them on the way, which is not true. What is important here that the Prophet ﷺ did not know that Aisha is in the desert. What we should need to know that Aisha did not make any call to the Prophet saying, for example, "Oh Rasulullah, help me." She didn't. Now the question is to you. If you know that your wife was subjected to any kind of harm, and she has a phone, a cellular, but she did not call you, what is the ruling of your wife? If you know that your wife is subject to any kind of harm by one of the mean, weird people, but you did not do anything towards that, what is your ruling? This is an important substantial evidence. Because, look, either the Prophet knew that she was left in the desert, but he did not care about that. He left her. He knows, but he did not take any action. Either she knows that she can call the Prophet, but she preferred to go with a foreigner person, and the Prophet preferred not to respond, not to take any action. It was okay with him to let a man escort Aisha to Medina. You know what this means? Do you know that this means that the Prophet has no honor? Do you know that either the Prophet has problem with his honor, and he allowed his wife to stay alone with someone who is not a brother, not an uncle, etc., etc. It was okay with the Prophet. What would you say? How would it be your answer now to this? This hadith is authentic. Bukhari and Muslim. What would you be saying? Then an accusation has to be has to be against the Prophet ﷺ. Or we say, why the Prophet care about you? Why the Prophet cares about millions in the one time during the generations? He cares about you all. There is no one that call him from far in Tajikistan, in Pakistan, etc., etc., in every place in the world, but he knows. Except his wife Aisha. He doesn't know. And he forgot to tell her. The Prophet Muhammad forgot to tell Aisha, oh Aisha, you can ask me in the unseen, whatever you are, just say Ya Rasulullah. I can answer you. I know. Maybe he is, but he forgot. He taught her everything about deen, but he did not tell her this. The Prophet knows who call him. He knows the situation of all his ummah, all his peoples individually, one by one, person by person. But he preferred to leave Aisha. It's okay. You know if that happened, if this happens to a normal person, he should be accused in his honor, in his trustworthiness, in his sincerity, in his faith. How much more the Prophet? So you want to maintain your inherited false belief that you can speak to the Prophet from far. You please yourself emotionally. Oh, I like that. I'm speaking to the Prophet, you know. But you see what is behind this false idea, false notion that the Prophet now is accused, that he knew that Aisha is left in the desert and he did not take any action. He didn't say to anyone, oh, let's get back. Aisha is in the back. I know. He didn't know. And Aisha did not call. So, if it was in the knowledge of Aisha and her doctrine that the Prophet can hear from far and know what's happening around him, why didn't she call him? Does the Prophet approve corruption in his family? To be in khalwa, in loneliness between her and him, away from people? Does the Prophet allow that? Does Aisha prefer to stay with a person who's not mahram to her instead of calling the Prophet? I mean, if Aisha has to choose between two, which is worst? To say, Ya Rasulullah, I'm in trouble. No, that's not good, you know. What is better, oh Aisha? It's better to go alone with a man. It's okay. It's okay. See? If you say yes, the Prophet can hear from far. That means the Prophet kept silent against what happened to his wife. And he preferred her to come alone with a man. That's better. It's very strange. If you say that the Prophet can hear, you know, not everything, but some, that means hearing you in his grave is a matter of possibility then. Which becomes, consequently, obligatory to believe that originally the source is that the Prophet doesn't hear, unless there might be some exceptions. So it becomes a matter of possibility. It's not a matter of doctrine. Then, if this is in life, and the Prophet was alive and he did not hear Aisha, how much more you say that he can hear everyone while he's dead? He was alive and he did not respond to Aisha. He did not know about Aisha. How can you tell me that Allah changed the Prophet's system? So instead of being alive, not hearing many people, this is the system. The system is changed after he died, and now he can hear everything. Who's saying that? So it's a matter of possibility now. So if it's a matter of possibility, then how do you leave, abandon, turn away from the one who can surely hear you at any time, at any place, at any through any language, which is Allah? You leave this certitude, and instead of that, you're going to the possibility that we're asking the Prophet. We know it's possible. Maybe he here, maybe not, but that's better. You see? This hadith is very strong evidence against those who say, we call the Prophet and he hears us. He's alive. He is alive. Don't you guys believe? Don't you believe that the prophets are alive in their graves? Yeah. See? That's it. See? That's the evidence. Now wait a minute. But he was alive, but he did not hear about Aisha. He was alive, but people used to be shouting out of his house, telling him that, oh Prophet, come out, we want to talk to you. They needed to shout. Why did they need to shout? If they have the same doctrine of yours, why they have to shout? They should have say, for example, since the Prophet can hear from the unseen, we can say like this, oh Prophet Muhammad, he can hear. There's no problem with him. But Allah blamed those people when they were shouting, yelling to the Prophet ﷺ to let him get out of the house. They want to talk to him. This is a good evidence. If you don't want to submit yourself to this fact, to this evidence, then we leave it to you. You're responsible for the Day of Judgment. This incident had taken place deliberately. It was set by Allah the Almighty. And that story has many benefits. And among the benefits is that the Prophet doesn't hear from the unseen. If you say, oh, sometimes it happens, all right, which is miracle. And the miracle is not the source. Is not the original situation, the usual. It's unusual. So we can't count on what is unusual. As the Prophet did not count on unusual. What happened to Musa is the thing that did not happen to the Prophet Muhammad. Musa had the staff. He just hit the staff and the water split. Okay? That did not happen to the Prophet. So this is unusual. It may happen sometimes, but it's unusual. And the Prophet died. If it's unusual, that means it's a matter of possibility. So why do you have to risk yourself when it's a matter of possibility? Why? None of the companions spoke to the Prophet after his death. And that is against you. That's an evidence. Show me any companion, okay, after the Prophet's death, spoke to him in the unseen. Oh, no, forget about that. Show me any companion spoke to the Prophet when he was alive, but in the unseen. You won't find even one evidence. Islam is religion of Tawheed. Asking the Prophet or asking a human being after his death, this is paganism. Christians will agree with you. Christians will not be saying no. They always, oh Mary, Mother of God, intercede for us. Save us. Oh Jesus. So you're resembling them. Oh Muhammad. Oh cousin of the Prophet Ali. Oh Abbas. Oh Sidi Abdul Qadir Jilani. Oh, etc., etc., etc. So that's an important evidence. Let's get to the other evidence. The other hadith is narrated by Abi Musa al-Ash'ari that he was with the Prophet ﷺ. He said, we were with the Prophet ﷺ. Then what we used to do is when we go to a higher place, like a hill, or going to a valley, we used to be raising our voice with takbir, saying Allahu Akbar. Then the Prophet ﷺ, as he got close to them, he said, hold on, or be more quiet, for you're not supplicating someone who cannot hear, or he is absent. The one whom you're supplicating is a hearing one, a seeing one, closer to one of you, closer to the one of you than the neck of his own camel. He's closer. But closer in terms of what? In his knowledge, in his capability of hearing and seeing you. So what is the evidence that we need to take from this hadith is that the one whom you call is not absent, is not away, while those whom you call other than Allah are absent and they are away. They may say, no, but the Prophet is not. Wait a minute, come on. Allah says, Inna Allah kana sami'an basira. Allah is all-seeing, all-hearing. Are you going to say that the Prophet is the same thing? Inna Muhammadan kana sami'an basira. Are you going to give the Prophet the same quality of Allah? Is that a Muslim belief? The other evidence. Hadith of Abi Amir. Abu Amir is one of the companions of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. This man, he was saying to Abu Musa al-Ash'ari when they were about to meet one kafir, one disbeliever in a fight. So Abu Amir said to Abu Musa, "O Abu Musa, I ask you by Allah, don't step on between me and martyrdom. Don't step on between. Leave the man for me." As he was fighting with the man hit him. And the ankle or the knee of Abu Amr started to bleed. Then he sent someone to go to the Prophet and to do what? To deliver him a message. What is that message? It was like this. O Rasulullah, ask Allah to forgive me. And by the way, the Prophet never said to someone, may Allah forgive you, but he died as martyr, as mentioned in Sahih Muslim. So Abu Amr said, "O Prophet, ask Allah to forgive me." Wait a minute. If Abu Amr knows that the Prophet can hear, can be addressed from any place in the world, why did he have to send someone to deliver the message to the Prophet? This is narrated in Sahih Muslim. Hadith number 2048. As the Prophet got the message, he went and he raised his hands, saying, Allahumma ghfirli abdika Abi Amir. O Allah, grant your forgiveness to your servant Abu Amir. Allahumma ja'alhu yawm al-qiyamati fawqa kathirin min khalqik. O Allah, let him be at the day of judgment over many of your servants. He didn't believe that there's no need for a postman. We can do that. I can ask the Prophet, he can hear me. No. He sent someone to deliver the Prophet the message from him. Another hadith. A woman came that at the last days of the Prophet, right before he died, maybe a couple of days only. A woman came to the Prophet for a certain need. Then the Prophet ﷺ said to her, come to me tomorrow. She said, what if I did not find you? He said, if you don't find me, then go to Abu Bakr. Now, when she said, what if I didn't find you? The narrator said that she meant by that death. She meant death. He said, if you did not find me, you go to Abu Bakr. This is narrated in Bukhari and Muslim. Well, He didn't say to her, if I died, then come to my grave, because there is no difference between my life and my death. But the Prophet taught us to differentiate between his life and his death. Well, the Prophet does not pray, doesn't get out of his grave and pray sometimes, lead the prayer in the masjid. He doesn't do that. And he lets someone lead the khilafah, the leadership, after his death. If there is no difference between life and death, why doesn't he get out of the grave and pray sometimes, lead the prayer? If there's no difference between life and death. Come on. Evidence number 6, I think. The Prophet taught us what to supplicate in terms we have difficulty, hard situation. Unlike what people teach, if you have a problem, ask the Prophet. Let's see. It was narrated in Sahih Bukhari, hadith number 6345. But in Muslim, 2730. Narrated by Ali ibn Abi Talib, the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ, who said, the Prophet ﷺ prompted me or taught me to say these words: if any calamity touched me or any problem I had, he advised me to say these following words. Let's see. Maybe one of the words that he taught him to say, Ya Rasulallah. Let's see. لا إله إلا الله الحليم الكريم سبحانه وتبارك الله رب العرش العظيم. لا إله إلا الله. When you encounter a difficulty, you say La ilaha illallah. You don't say Wa Rasulullah. No. He did not order him to ask the dead people if he has a difficulty or problem. No. He taught him to seek refuge with Allah, to seek help from Allah alone, to say the word of Tawheed, La ilaha illallah. That is how you can get helped by Allah for your problem or calamity. Now there is an important hadith in Sahih Bukhari, hadith number 1010. When we find that Umar, as he was suffering, and all the people in Medina were suffering the famine, and Umar wanted to supplicate Allah for, relieving, for the relief of this calamity, famine. So what did Umar do? Umar gathered the companions. Where? In the masjid? No. In a certain place in the suburb of Medina. And he gathered all the companions. What does this mean? Gathered all the companions. That means ijma'. Agreement. They all agreed with Umar. What did he say? He said, Oh Allah, when we had famines before, we used to be asking you through your Prophet. نتوسل إليك بنبيك فتسقينا. We used to be asking you by your Prophet, then you grant us water. And now we're asking you by his uncle Al-Abbas. Al-Abbas was standing beside him. Now, why not the Prophet? The Prophet was dead. Oh, so that means Umar differentiated between life of the Prophet and death, in which you disagree with. It seems you're disagreeing with Umar. You're disagreeing with Umar. You shouldn't. Okay? So that was the relief of the calamity, to ask Allah, but through Al-Abbas. What did Abbas do? Did Umar say, Oh Allah, we ask you through Abbas, that's all? No. Abbas was asking Allah. As the tawassul to Rasulullah when he was alive is to ask the Prophet to ask Allah. Not from their homes. No, no. They used to come. That's why you have to check the two hadith prior to this hadith. I think hadith number 1008, 1009. People used to come to the Prophet and say, "Oh Prophet, we have a famine. Ask Allah." So they used to come to him when he was alive. That's the tawassul. When the Prophet died, no. To Umar, there's a difference. To Umar said, we used to. He didn't say we still do. He didn't say we still do. He said we used to. Make tawassul to you through the Prophet Muhammad. That means through his supplication. The Prophet used to raise his hand and ask Allah for water. So that the Prophet, they were using the supplication of the Prophet, not the personality. The tawassul was not through the person of the Prophet, but through the action, through the supplication of the Prophet ﷺ. When the Prophet died, that means no more. Now, amazingly here, none of the companions said, "Oh, come on, Umar, why did he say we used to? Not we still do. Come on." No. None of them disagreed with Umar. So when the Prophet differentiated between his life and death, saying to the woman, "If you did not find me, go to Abu Bakr," also Umar did, based on that, the same thing. He said, "We used to ask you Allah by your Prophet Muhammad, and now we're asking you by his uncle." Didn't Umar know that the prophets are alive in their graves? Or do you know about matter of doctrine something that Umar did not do? Who's more knowledgeable, you or Umar? Hadith number 7. Hadith of Uwais al-Qarani. A righteous man to his mother. He loved to see the Prophet. He wanted to join the Prophet. He was in Yemen. But the problem is that his mother was sick. And he used to be maintaining the health of his mother. Okay? Caring for his mother. He could not go join the Prophet ﷺ because of that. The Prophet praised him for this. The Prophet praised him for this. He said, "A man will come to you from Yemen. His name is Uwais. He has a mother in which he is so righteous to. He had leprosy in which he was recovered from except a small dot or spot in his body." Then the Prophet said, "Whoever will be meeting him among you, let him ask him. Let him ask Uwais to ask Allah to forgive him. When he meets," see what the condition the Prophet set here. "When he meet whoever will be meeting with him among you, let him ask him to ask Allah forgiveness for him." None of the companions were asking Uwais before he arrived to Medina after the Prophet's death. But Umar, he kept asking those who come from Yemen to join with the Muslims in wars, etc. "Is there anyone among you? His name is Uwais." No. Then suddenly, at one of the delegation coming from Yemen, Umar was asking, "Is there anyone among you? His name is Uwais." So Uwais said, "Yes, it's me." He said, "It's you? Come. Were you leper before?" He said, "Yes." "Show me." There is a small stain still, a small spot of leprosy. "You were recovered from it except a small spot." He said, "Yes, that's it." He said, "You have a mother upon whom you are so careful. You are caring her. You are taking care of her, looking after her." He said, "Yes." He said, "Ask Allah to forgive me, O Uwais." He said, No. You are a traveler now, Umar. So I think you are more worth it to ask Allah for me. Then Umar did not care about what he said to him. He said, ask Allah to forgive me. 3 times. Then he said to Uwais, where is your way? He said, I'm going to Al-Kufa. He said, I'll write to the governor of Kufa for you to take good care of you, to support you, to sponsor you. He said, no, 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 no. I prefer to be among the dusty people, walking with them. As he was leaving Umar, people heard about this. And each one of them started to call Uwais and say to him, Uwais, ask Allah to forgive me. Everybody! Then Uwais had to disappear. It caused, it was fitna for him. It was a trouble. It was a test for his faith. He doesn't want to be famous. He doesn't want to be known by this. So he wasn't seen after that. So what did Umar say to him? Ask Allah to forgive me. When? When he met with him as the Prophet instructed him. What people do today? No, you can ask the dead people. There's no problem. They can hear. So the Prophet linked. The Prophet set a condition for asking Uwais when you meet with him. So is it allowed when you meet someone to say, ask Allah forgive me? Yes. What is the evidence? In Surah Yusuf, ayah number 97. In Surah Yusuf, they said, the children of Yaqub, they call him in English Jacob, after they were exposed with their sin, they had eventually to say to their father, O our father, we committed a sin, so ask Allah to forgive us. So Yaqub said, I'll ask Allah to forgive you. For Allah is all forgiving, all merciful. That's allowed. Who told you that it is prohibited? No, no, no. Since Allah made it clear and the Prophet made it clear, so we are following the sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's it. Hadith number 8. There are 70 huffaz of the Quran. Some of the hypocrites came to the Prophet and said, oh, we are in a certain village and we need people to teach us to memorize the Quran and to read the Quran. Then he sent to them the selective memorizers of the Quran, 70. And that was tragic to the Prophet ﷺ. 70 before they died. They were saying, oh Allah, reveal to your Prophet ﷺ what's happening to us. Tell the Prophet tell the Prophet Muhammad about what we are encountering. Tell him that we are meeting you now and we are pleased with you and you are pleased with us. Tell the Prophet. Wait a minute. If this hadith is in Sahih Muslim. Wait a minute. If they know already that the Prophet knows the unseen, he knows everything. He may and he may not, For example, in Ghazwat Mu'tah, the Prophet told the companions what happened to the Muslims there when they were about to be defeated. Yes, I admit. But this is not the source. The source is he doesn't know. Unless Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells him about certain things. And that was not always. The difference between this and the belief of those people that whatever they say to the Prophet by any language, wherever they are, whenever they do, the Prophet is always available. For one person? No. For the billions of the people. During all the generations. Whether day, night, at any time, he's available. He knows. That gives him the quality of Allah. So they said, oh Allah, tell your Prophet about what happened to us. They didn't say, Ya Rasulullah, look what's happening to us. They didn't say that. See? This is the Tawheed of Islam. Do you have something else? Prove to us your shirk. Prove to us that your shirk is not shirk. Prove it, as we're proving to you from the Book of Allah, from the Sunnah of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hadith number 9. The Prophet himself, whom you claim to be loving, he said, إِذَا سَأَلْتَ فَاسْأَلِ اللَّهِ. If you ever ask Allah alone. وَإِذَا اسْتَعَنْتَ فَاسْتَعِنْ بِاللَّهِ. And if you seek help from Allah alone. See? That's what the Prophet said. Hadith number 10. And this hadith is the core of their evidences. They say that a blind man came to the Prophet ﷺ and he said to him, "O Prophet, I am blind as you see. Ask Allah to return my sight." Then the Prophet said, "If you want, I can ask Allah for you. If you want, you can be patient and Jannah is yours." But he chose to be that Allah return his sight to him. Then the Prophet taught him to take wudu and perform prayer and to make a supplication. "O Allah, I ask you by your Prophet, O Muhammad, I had come to you, I came toward you in this need of mine, so it will be accomplished or applied for me. O Allah, accept my shafa'ah for him and his shafa'ah for me." Shafa'ah for him, how can you explain it? That means, "O Allah, respond my call." For his call to be responded. This is my shafa'ah. And respond his call for me. His call for me. So he sought tawassul by the person of the Prophet or by the supplication of the Prophet. The blind man is saying, by what the Prophet taught him to say, "O Allah, accept his supplication for me." So that means the Prophet was supplicating for him. So he came for the Prophet to supplicate for him. And by the way, wait a minute. Why this blind man needs to go to the Prophet to ask him? Why didn't he do it from his home? Noting here that he's a blind man. It would have been better for him, easier for him as a blind man to supplicate from distance, not necessarily to come to the Prophet. They may say to you, "Wait a minute. The blind man was saying, 'Oh Muhammad, I have, directed myself to you in this need of my.'" He said it to the Prophet while the Prophet was not with him. He was away. Who told you that? The hadith doesn't say that. But our evidence is stronger. That it seems that the blind man, he learned that doctrine that he does not speak to the Prophet unless he comes to him. And the hadith is so clear on that. If in this hadith there is a way of speaking to the Prophet from far, without making difference between his life and his death, if this is true, then Umar would have not been saying, "Oh Allah, when we used to be having a famine, we used to be asking you by your Prophet, we used to." And Umar would have not been gathering the people in the suburb of Medina. He should have been going then to the grave of the Prophet and asking the Prophet there, but he didn't do. But there is nothing in the hadith of the blind man what support their claim. The only evidence for them is what the hadith includes, that the narrator said, فَلَمَّا خَرَجَ إِلَيْنَا. فَلَمَّا خَرَجَ, yani when the Prophet came to us, went out to us. So they say, see, that's evidence. That's not an evidence. It's a presumption. It is not an evidence. Because the Prophet used to be teaching us to supplicate Allah for the dead, not to expect the supplication of the dead for us. And Allah taught us that there's difference between the dead and the living one. He said, وَمَا يَسْتَوِي الْأَحْيَاءُ وَلَا الْأَمْوَاتِ. Fatir 22. He said, not equal the matter of the dead and the matter of the living. In another ayah, وَالَّذِينَ يَدْعُونَ مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ لَا يَخْلُقُونَ شَيْئًا وَهُمْ يُخْلَقُونَ. As for those who supplicate, invoke others apart from Allah, they are created. They do not create, but they are themselves created. أَمْوَاتٌ غَيْرُ أَحْيَاء. They are dead but not alive. وَمَا يَشْعُرُونَ أَيَّانَ يُبْعَثُونَ. And they do not perceive, they don't feel when they will be resurrected. What will the people be? Those people will say, "Oh, Allah's talking about the idols." Idols? They don't know when will they be resurrected. Do idols? Do stones get resurrected? Will Allah be resurrecting the stones? How Allah said they do not create, but they are themselves created. They are not alive, but they are dead. Would he be calling the stone, some stones are alive, but some other stones are dead? Do stones die? Come on. So those people whom Allah refuted, they used to be asking apart from Allah human beings, not stones. But they made the stones as symbols. For the dead people, yes. Another evidence. We always remind people about the importance of this supplication to Allah, that it's a matter of worship. Where's the evidence? Allah said, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. It is you only whom we worship, and from you only we seek help. The Prophet said it. إِذَا سَأَلْتَ فَاسْأَلِ اللَّهِ. If you ever ask Allah alone. And if you ever seek help from Allah alone. And the Prophet ﷺ said in a hadith, وَلَا تَسْأَلُوا النَّاسَ شَيْءًا. Don't ask people anything. In his legacy, advice, instruction to Abu Dhar, he said to him, Abu Dhar himself said, وَأَمَرَنِي أَنْ لَا أَسْأَلَ النَّاسَ شَيْئًا. And the Prophet ﷺ ordered me not to ask people anything. The Prophet said, who can guarantee you one thing for me? I'll be guaranteeing Jannah for him. Then Thawban, the assistant or the maid of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he said, me, O Rasulullah. The Prophet said, don't ask anyone anything. Thawban said, I used to be riding my camel, and the whip falls down from me, and I used to go down to pick it up for me, not to ask anyone, maintaining my promise to the Prophet that I will not be asking anyone anything. So I can get the guaranteeing of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is the guaranteeing for Jannah? Don't ask anyone anything. How come the Prophet will be prohibiting people to ask the living people, but he'll be saying, okay, but it's okay with the Prophet that you speak to the dead and ask the dead your need. The Prophet was saying, don't ask people. And this don't ask people the living one, yani. It is not haram. But it is highly requested that you do not ask. But what is haram is to ask the dead. This is paganism. This is shirk. Now, let's go to the reasonable evidences. Number one, does the Prophet hear millions of people at the same time? He can hear them all, giving their need all, no matter how their number is, no matter how the variety of their tongues is. If you say that, oh, those, some people are making God equal to you're making God equal to his creatures. when you say that the Prophet can hear anyone who asks him by any language he speaks, from any place he is, this is making people similar to Allah the Almighty. Who can hear all people at the same time, despite the variety of languages, places, timing at the same time, except Allah? Did the Prophet speak to Aisha when she was in her house and the Prophet's grave was inside of her house? Did it happen even one time only that Aisha was speaking to the Prophet? No evidence. Never. Never. Therefore we say that it is not allowed to ask the Prophet. It is not allowed. I like this poetry, which Subki, he is, considered to be one of the Sufis. But he said here a beautiful poetry. He said, فاضرع إلى الله الكريم ولا تسل بشرا فليس سواه كاشف الضر. It's so beautiful. Fatawa Subki, Volume 1, page 13, and Tabaqat al-Subki, Volume 10, page 304. So, humble yourself in your supplication to Allah, the generous, and never ask any human being, for there is no one that will relieve you from your suffer, except Allah. And he quoted this ayah, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ. You know what he said? This man was enemy to Ibn Taymiyyah. But now, in this point, he was so fair. He said, this ayah, إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينَ, it's very evident that none should be sought help except Allah. And that when Allah preceded him in this ayah, إِيَّاكَ, and he delayed nasta'een, it meant that this is very important. That's why Allah was preceding the ayah. The ayah did not say na'buduka wa nasta'inuk, but it said إِيَّاكَ نَعْبُدُ وَإِيَّاكَ نَسْتَعِينُ. It has stronger emphasis that the matter is nothing but this, that we ask Allah alone. In the books of Sufism, like a book written by the Sufis, his name is حالة أهل الحقيقة مع الله, page 92, supposedly written by Ahmad al-Rifa'i, the great Sufi Imam. What did he say? The book says that one of the Sufi people, they started to ask someone other than Allah for his need. Allah became angry with this Sufi man. And he said to him, are you seeking help from other than me? And I am the savior? You're asking someone other than me to rescue you, while I am the rescuer myself? Allah was angry with him. Imam Bayhaqi said, among the names of Allah, Al-Ghayyath, that means the one who support his needy servants when they have any hardship. Al-Qurtubi said, يجب على كل مكلف, every Muslim should know, أن يعلم أنه لا غياث ولا مغيث على الإطلاق إلا الله. Everyone should know that there is no one that grants you your need and that you seek his help, that means in the unseen, anyone except Allah. Az-Zabidi, in his book إتحاف السادة المتقين, and he's Sufi. He is the commentator of the book إحياء علوم الدين for Ghazali. Yet, look what he said. وَقَبِيحٌ, it is ugly. It is disgusting. بذوي الإيمان, with the people of faith, أن ينزلوا حاجتهم بغير الله, that they direct themselves with their need to someone other than Allah, مع علمهم بوحدانيته, knowing at the same time that Allah is only one, وانفراده بربوبيته, and He is the one Lord, while they are hearing Allah saying, أليس الله بكاف عبده. It is disgusting for them to ask someone other than Allah while they hear this ayah. Isn't it Allah sufficient for His servant? Those who ask someone other than Allah, they should be saying, no, He's not. That's why we're going to the dead people, asking them in their graves. Allah is not sufficient. Here An-Nawawi is saying, he's explaining the hadith, إذا سألت فاسأل الله وإذا استعنت فاستعن بالله. He said, the Prophet had instructed us to have full trust in Allah, and that we should not be taking any other God with Him in all of our affairs. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, وَمَن يَتَوَكَّلْ عَلَى اللَّهِ فَهُوَ حَسْبُهُ. Allah said, whoever trusts Allah, then Allah will be sufficient for him. Then He said, وَإِذَا تَيَقَّنَ الْمُؤْمِنُ هَذَا, if the believer became certain on that, فَمَا فَائِدَةُ سُؤَالِ غَيْرِ اللَّهِ. And now He said, then what is the benefit, what is the meaning of asking someone other than Allah and seeking help from someone other than Allah? And also he quoted Ibrahim, when Jibreel came to him while Ibrahim was thrown in the fire. Jibreel came to him at that very moment, saying to him, do you have any need? He said, as from you, no. But as from Allah, Allah is sufficient for me, and the only one that should be trusted. I mean, if this is one of those people, he'll be saying, yes, Jibreel, don't you see what I'm facing? Come on, Jibreel. Yes, Jibreel. Please help me, Jibreel. Please help me, Jibreel. He didn't say that. Look what Al-Razi said. Al-Razi is an Ash'ari, well-known person to those people. He said, you should know, you should be well aware that the kuffar brought a question. They said, we are not worshipping those statues, believing that they are gods, that they benefit and harm, but we are worshipping them, those idols, because they are statues that belong to those human people who used to be close to Allah. So we are worshipping those idols. So those people whom the idols were set in their images, that those righteous people will be interceding for us at the Day of Judgment. Then Al-Razi continued. Then Allah refuted those people, saying, أَمِ اتَّخَذُوا مِن دُونِ اللَّهِ شُفَعَاءَ. Or did they take apart from Allah for themselves intercessors, mediators? قُلْ أَوَلَوْ كَانُوا لَا يَمْلِكُونَ شَيْئًا وَلَا يَعْقِلُونَ. Then what if it's the case is that they neither know anything, nor they owe anything. They neither know nor they owe. They neither know nor owe. Then Al-Razi replied and said, either those kuffar are so keen to get the shafa'ah, intercession, from those idols, or they meant to say that we are taking, we want to attain shafa'ah, intercession, by those scholars, righteous people, whom the idols were made after their image. Then he said, as for the first, it is prohibited, it's wrong, because those statues, they own nothing for themselves. So how do you expect intercession from it? Second also is prohibited, false, because of the Day of Judgment. No one will be owing anything for another person. No one can make shafa'ah except after the permission of Allah. So Allah will be entirely the one who is the reason or the cause of shafa'ah in itself, by allowing certain people apart from others to give shafa'ah, to give intercession at the Day of Judgment. So, in this case, making yourself busy with worshipping Allah and asking Allah is better. That was in his tafsir, volume 26, page 285. In another place in the same book, he said, those kuffar, disbelievers, mushrik, pagan people, they have made these idols and statues after the images of their prophets and righteous people. And they claimed that whenever we make ourselves busy with worshipping these idols, then those high, great people will be interceding for us at the Day of Judgment. Then Ar-Razi said, likewise is our people nowadays. He was talking before about the pagans before. Now he said, likewise is matter of the people nowadays. They're glorifying the graves of those righteous people like saints, pious, with their belief that if they glorify their graves, magnify their graves, then those dead people will be mediators for them at the Day of Judgment. At-Tafsir al-Kabir for Ar-Razi, volume 17, page 59. At-Taftazani, he is a, like we say today, Diobandi or Maturidi scholar. He said, the paganism of the pagans, it happened when one of the good righteous people when he died, they used to be making a statue after the likeness of his image and magnifying that statue, seeking by this to get closer to Allah. Sharh al-Maqasid for At-Taftazani, volume 4, page 41. Let's go now to Abdul Qadir Jilani, whom people say, Ya Abdul Qadir, Ya Jilani, Ya Mutasarrif fil Akwan. You can see that kind of paganism designed with poetry to deceive the layman people. Now, we have a book written by Abdul Qadir Jilani himself, whom the Sufi people today supplicate him and invoke him in his grave. Look what he said in his book. Let's see what Abdul Qadir said. Ya man yashkul khalqa masaibahu. O you who complain to the creatures your calamities. إيش ينفعك شكواك إلى الخلق? What would be beneficial to you complaining your problems to the creatures like you? لا ينفعونك ولا يضرونك. They neither benefit you nor harm you. وإذا اعتمدت عليهم, and if you depended on them, وأشركت في باب الحق, falling in shirk, paganism, يبعدونك, they will be distancing you from Allah. أنت يا جاهل, O you ignorant, تدعي العلم, claiming to have knowledge, تطلب الخلاص من الشدائد بشكواك الخلق, seeking to get rid of your suffers and complaints by asking the dead. ويلك, woe unto you. أما تستحي أن تطلب من غير الله. Aren't you ashamed to ask someone apart from Allah, وهو أقرب إليك من غيره, while Allah is closer to you than anyone else? That's beautiful. الفتح الرباني والفيض الرحماني, page 117, 118, and 159. And he said to his son, when he was at the last breath of his life, he said to his son, لا تخف أحدا ولا ترجو. Don't fear anyone and don't hope him. وأوكل الحوائج كلها إلى الله. And leave all your needs to Allah alone. واطلبها منه. Seek it from Allah. ولا تثق بأحد سوى الله عز وجل, and do not trust anyone other than Allah the Almighty. ولا يعتمد إلا عليه سبحانه, none should be trusted except Him. التوحيد. He said, he was instructing his son. After he said that to him, he said, التوحيد 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 وجماع الكل التوحيد. He said, monotheism, 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 and the entire matter of faith and religion is based on monotheism, التوحيد. Where did he say that? Al-Fath al-Rabbani, page 373. So that is so clear that Abdul Qadir al-Jilani, whom people today invoke him for their needs, he was describing this to be shirk, to ask the dead people apart from Allah. Another logic evidence. We know that the companions had disagreement between themselves, and it caused, in a certain extent, a fight that took place between them. We know that the Prophet ﷺ is described by Allah in the Quran that he is to the believers, or with the believers, he is kind and merciful. Kind, soft, and merciful. Now, if the Prophet had any kind of possible contact with his companions, then he would have been stopping the disagreement, stopping the fight between his companions, because we were told by the Prophet that the blood of the Muslim, in the Prophet's perspective, is more sacred than the sacredness of Kaaba. And we know that the companions are the most God-fearing ones among the others. So among them, there had been a disagreement that caused bloodshed between them. So if there was any possible contact between them and the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ, they would have been going to his grave and asked him to judge between themselves. But they did not do. Wasn't this better to do if it's halal to be done? Why they had to take the choice of fighting while they are possible to go and seek their judgment to the Prophet? Then the Prophet is going to say, you are right, you are wrong, and then he returns to his grave. But the Prophet didn't. So either he is not kind, merciful to his companions, or there is no contact between the dead and the living. Oh yes, the Prophet is alive, but in his world, not in our world. Another evidence. Some of the misguided people, such as the Habashis, the Shia, they disagree with us, and they say, no, you can speak, you can call upon, invoke, supplicate other than Allah. Yet they have a book in which they believe it to be a holy book. And that book's title is As-Sahifa Sajjadiyya, for one of the descendants of the Prophet Muhammad, his grandson, Ali ibn Hussein Zain al-Abidin. So he belongs to the lineage of the Prophet ﷺ. And they say that his book, As-Sahifa Sajjadiyya, is authentic, is great, is holy. Let's see what it contains. In this book, As-Sahifa Sajjadiyya, page 214, it says that Zain al-Abidin, who is described as Sajjad. Sajjad means he keeps always falling down on his face to Allah. Now in this book, there is the following statement, quote, Alhamdulillahi alladhi la ad'u ghayrah. Praise be to Allah, the one whom I do not invoke anyone other than Him. وَلَوْ دَعَوْتُ غَيْرَهُ لَمْ يَسْتَجِبْ لِي. And if I invoke, supplicate someone other than Allah, Allah then will not be responding my dua to him. وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي لَا أَرْجُو غَيْرَهُ. And praise be to Allah, whom I do not hope anyone else but Him. وَلَوْ رَجَوْتُ غَيْرَهُ لَأَخْلَفَ رَجَائِي. But if I hoped someone else other than Him, then my hope to Him will be nullified, will be cancelled. So, in this great book, whom the Habashis say it's a great book, it's authentically narrated, right? Okay, it's authentically narrated. Well, take this one. He's saying there, praise be to Allah, whom I do not invoke, supplicate, call except Him. I don't call anyone other than Him. But if I did, then Allah will not be responding my supplication. So take it.